Welcome to Rude Tuners Arcade, guys. I'm your host RT, and today is going to be another Nova Blast candy cap tutorial. And today I'm going to be showing you guys, I had a request from one of our viewers, and he was wondering about hooking a Jamma up to this machine. So I'm going to show you guys today step by step how to run an authentic Jamma board on the machine. I'm going to show you guys also how to run this. If you have one of these, this is Pandora's box, is the older one. And I'm going to go over another important part, your coin mechanism. Now, to save you some time, and I'll get to that when we get to that part, it's real quick, but if you're going to be using this just for novelty or just for fun as an arcade machine where you actually put money or tokens into it, there's a few things you should know about the machine, and it's going to save you probably about an hour's worth of time. I had to figure it out on my own, and I did look online for some tutorials, and I finally figured it out. So I'll show that to you guys when we get there. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go over how to install a Jamma safely, and we're going to go over how to fix your coin mechanism if you're having problems with it. Another thing I want to say real quick about this video, guys, is do not, if you don't know what you're doing, do not start tinkering and messing with things and just start plugging stuff in where you think it should go, because you can fry your board. And once you fry your board on this thing, I won't say it's going to be useless, but it's going to lose its functionality, and you're going to be pissed. So do not, if you know what you're doing, do not plug random stuff in and try to figure things out your own. I highly recommend going online and finding a video or finding a forum somewhere where people actually have these machines or have arcade experience and are doing stuff. Make sure you double and triple check before you plug any random wire and you don't know where it's going, you plug it into your board, because you can definitely fry your board. So with that said, guys, this is I'll take that disclaimer. Follow my tutorial along. And just if you follow like I show you, you should have no problem. So I'm gonna show you all the things safety wise and the safest way to do everything without frying anything or even shocking yourself. Okay, so with that, guys, let's get into the tutorial. Also, I want to show you real quick, sorry, came back, I wasn't supposed to work on the machine. This is a Jamma board, and this one right here I have is a actual real pit fighter. Okay, it's a pit fighter Jamma, and these things are huge, so make sure you're extra careful with this. I got legs on mine, the little white legs you can see. Make sure you're careful with this when you set it down, because it doesn't take much to break this thing. Once you crack something, or one of these solders come loose or something like that, the board might not work. So be extra careful with your board. Now, one thing I'll say about this board, for some reason, one of the kicks, or one of the three buttons is linked to the start button. I don't know why that's like that on this board, but for some reason the guy I got the board from, it was like that. So not a big deal, because you're just pushing start. But other than that, the board works perfectly fine, and this is the one we're going to be using first, and then in the second part of the video we'll use that Pandora's box. So this is what a Jamma looks like. You have a Jamma board. Okay guys, so right now I'm at the front of my machine, and I'm gonna show you guys the coin mechanism, what I'm talking about. Okay, so to take it off, all you do, if you put it together right, you just take this off right here. I recommend holding this, because this thing can fall out and you don't want it to fall. All right, now the way mine is set up, okay, it's gonna, when you get your machine, it's gonna come with a wire, right, a red and black wire, and this is for your coin mechanism machine. Now, one thing I found, if you look close, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it's a little, this is your needle right here, and this is basically when you drop the coin in like that. Let's see if I got one. When you drop your coin in up here, it drops down. Well, I had to lean it forward so it came out this part, but it's supposed to go through. So usually it's in straight up flush like that. You drop your coin in, and it comes out the bottom. It hits this little needle, and it registers a credit. Okay, that's how this thing works. You can make adjustments here. I believe this might be an adjustable one. I didn't have to make any adjustments on mine. So before you start tinkering, it's this adjustment knob right here. If it's an adjustable, usually they're up here. If it's an adjustable coin mechanism, make sure that you read up on this thing before you start messing with anything up here. Your needle down here, I tried everything last night. What happened was, when I hooked it up, when I was trying to mess with this thing, the coin wouldn't register. Okay, I put it in, it would drop through, but it wouldn't register. The reason being is because now how this works, and I'll just tell you real quick, it's real simple. How it works is when you drop the coin in, don't worry about this part. When it gets down to here, it hits this needle right here, this little needle right here, and it registers the coin. What it does, when you push this needle, if you can see back here where the needle is, when you push it back, when it goes back like this, okay, it closes the circuit, meaning it sends electricity through. It makes the circuit all the way through, and it says closed circuit. So the circuit's closed, and it registers a credit. Now, the problem I was having was, it has to be a certain length of time. If it's too quick, it won't register. The circuit just kind of goes real quick, closes, and it's too quick, so it just drop the cord through, but it won't come through. It needs a longer length of time to actually register. So what I did initially, when I first hooked it up, I put the ground out here on the microtransistor, and I put the red wire, the power wire here on the first one, and that was a mistake. For some reason, I don't know why, after researching online, I found out that if I put it on this side, it seemed to work now, because I guess this side, and I thought they were the same, but I guess this side closes the circuit closed for a longer length of time. Now, somebody can explain that in the comments if you know what that means, but I just read up on it and researched it, and that's the best explanation I can give you for it. So when you're hooking this thing up initially, put your ground out here, but don't put it on this first transistor, put it on the second one. Okay, so the one closest to the mechanism, put it on that second one. So you have the black, the ground, you have a middle one that's empty, and then you're going to have your red one here. Now, I'm sure somebody's a guru in the comments, and they're going to give you a better explanation than I did, but that's what I found out. And I tried adjusting the needle. Another thing with this needle right here, if you don't know what you're doing with this needle, don't mess with it, because you can bend this thing and you can actually break it, but it has to be in a certain position, an optimized position to register the coins. If you bend it too much, it'll stop the quarter from falling. If you bend it too far, it's not going to swing back and make contact and activate this transistor. So that's what I'm going to say about this real quick. So if you're having problems with it, try that. And when you put these things on, they're kind of on, so be very careful trying to take these off. If you pull too hard, you can rip this cable apart. So be extra careful with these. This is like I had to say, it's kind of a commercial grade in some ways. So just be careful with that. So that's all I'm gonna say. Now, I'm gonna show you up top. Once you plug this in here, I'll show you up top when I go into the back of the machine where you plug this, because the other end has another part, and it's labeled coin 1, coin 2. So I'll show you that. So we're gonna put this back together, and I'll meet you in the back. One more thing though, before I go. Inside of here, I got my table off. Make sure you run this thing behind the table or off to the side and pull the slack out. It's a little table that goes there, and I'll show you that real quick too, the optimized way to have it. But make sure this thing's not getting pinched, because if you got it just hanging freely, when you open your coin drawer, you can damage this cable, or if you're just sliding stuff around in here, you can damage your cable. So I'm gonna show you that in a second. But just be extra careful. Make sure you run the slack out of this thing when you pull it up to the top. Now, another thing I'm gonna show you real quick is the inside of your cab. Okay, so this is the inside of the cab, the front. And if you'll see, there's 2 metal beams that you gotta install when you put it together, okay? You can adjust this. There's more screws on the side right here and over there. It's 2 screws. One goes on this side, one goes on that side. And you got another one on this side just like it, okay? You can adjust those if you'd like to the height. I put mine like right here. That way, when I put the board in, I can set something on top of it. And I recommend doing, like, if you're doing a Jamma like I'm going to do today, you don't want that big Jamma sitting on top of the machine. You want it down here. So, and anything else you have your any kind of Pi or PlayStation 2 or console, whatever you're going to put in this thing, you want to have this table right here, and it's a hole in the board, and there's a hole at the top where you can run your wires through. Okay, so I'm gonna put the board in, and there's a few things you need to know about that. Okay, we're back now, and I got the board in there, and what it is, there's 2 grooves, guys, right here. Okay, you can't see them because the board's covered, but it's 2 grooves, 2 notches. So the board's pretty secure. If you slide it, the only way to really get this thing off is to lift up on it. So once it's in, you can see it's in. It's not going anywhere. Be careful and make sure you got it seated correctly. There's a hole right here. Okay, so if you want to put it up higher, you can. I think this is a good height right here. Eventually, I might bring it down, but I feel like everything I'm going to run will fit in between here. If you got like a PlayStation 5 in here or some big ridiculous console like that, you can bring it down one. I feel like this is good because, and the reason I feel like this is a good height is because back here, I have my USB encoder plug coming through, okay, and it's at a perfect height where I can reach everything without having to stress my cable. You don't want to put stress on this cable right here. So pretty much once you set it up, you're good to go. Plus on top of that, if you need to work in here for whatever reason, turn your system on or whatever like that, all you gotta do is take the front panel out as opposed to pulling out your whole machine, spinning it around, opening up the back and fiddling around back there. And it's a lot of room in the back, but not as much as you think. You got a ton of room in here, a ton of real estate to put whatever you want in there. Okay guys, so now we're at the back of the machine, and I'm gonna show you where this is the other end of the wire that goes to your coin mechanism. And you'll see right here, I'll try to zoom up for you guys. You can see where it says coin 1, coin 2, okay? We're gonna be using coin 1, so we're gonna plug this in. And when you plug this in, make sure you clear all the wires underneath. That way you're not yanking on this thing if you're moving stuff around back here. So the way it goes in, it just goes one way. Well, you can put it two ways, but one way kind of. You got this little clasp on the back. You got this part right here. It just goes in where the holes line up with these prongs right here. So don't force it, just kind of gentle, real gentle goes in. So now you have your coin mechanism set up. Once you get ready for housekeeping with this thing, as far as wire management and everything, I'd recommend pulling the slack through. Okay, we'll get our Jamma out the way and pull out the slack. Now this is the plug that goes to the bottom. We'll plug this into the side right here. And another note, while I'm thinking about it, mine is unplugged. This isn't really gonna matter because the machine's off. Whenever you're working on an arcade machine, guys, make sure you have all the power turned off. Do not work on this machine, or any arcade machine for that matter, with the power on. You can zap yourself. Best case, just fry some of your equipment. Worst case, you can zap yourself. That's no fun. So here's your Jamma. Okay, now I'm gonna take the Jamma loose because I'm gonna drop my Jamma through this hole right here to go into my pit fighter board. So let me do that real quick. Okay, so we got our Jamma loose. And I'm gonna show you real quick while I got the camera up here. I'm gonna show you the Jamma. One thing to know about a Jamma, guys, if you're not familiar with it, if you are familiar, then you already know what I'm talking about. But you have two parts of the Jamma board, right? You have one that says part side, and they don't got the label on this side, but this is basically your pin side, okay? So your part side is basically, whenever you plug this in, and I'll show you when we go down to the bottom, the part side is going to be the part that goes into the top part of the Jamma, the part with all the, transistors and everything on it. The pin side, okay, is going to be the part where all the little pins are on the back. It's just all pins, okay, on the back of the Jamma board. It's all flat, those spiky pins. It's all pins, no parts on that side. Part side is where your lights are and everything else. So, and you can tell also if you look right here, this is going to be your power side. Now, I'll show you real quick. Now I'm using this as an example because it's easier to maneuver this thing and move it around as opposed to that big Jamma board. And I don't want to move that thing. But if you look right here, this is the part that goes to the Jamma. And if you look at it, see how you got the board right here, and you got this little nub right here, and then it breaks off and you got a longer part of the board. Right here, now this can go on both ways, okay? You don't want to do that though. You want to make sure, and they were gracious enough, thank God Unico labeled this thing, because you get a lot of old school Jammas that don't have the label, the numbering and stuff on them. This one has right here your voltage. This is your power side, okay? It's the part side. It's going to go up, straight up and down like this. And this is the part with the power, okay? So it's got your voltages. These over here are all your buttons. Your in the middle is probably, I think it's your, your picture and everything. And over here is your buttons. So when you put it in, you want to make sure that you don't force it. You put it, the power side is going to go to these little nubs right here, okay? Part side up. This Jamma's up, and then you double check by making sure your power's the way it's supposed to be. Put it in, and some people try to force these things. They got these two little handles here. What I like to do is just kind of seat it first, get it seated like that, with these little handles on the side, and then just push it on gently. Don't force it, just gently. It's on. Now, if I was going to use this machine, it's set up for this Jamma board right here. When you take it off, don't just yank it, don't grab the cords, just gently push off, don't force it. If it's not coming, just be gentle with it, take your time, because you break this thing, you're gonna be ticked off. So just nice and easy, and never push like on one of these, just push this. It'll come off, and once you get one side, gently push the other side off, gently, and There you go. Some Jammas will fit easier than others. This one's kind of hard. The one I got is a little stiff, but don't push from this because you break off transistors and stuff like that. You're going to be in trouble. So just nice and gentle, and that's it. So I'm going to drop this down. Okay. Let me put this down. And what I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to set that Jamma, that big ridiculous Jamma we got, because the old school Jammas were huge. I'm going to take that and I'm going to set that up on that table we put inside of the front of the cab. So I'm going to set that up real quick. When I come back, we'll have the Jamma on the table and we'll have the Jamma plugged in. So just the same way I plugged in that Pandora box Jamma is the same principle that applies to actual real Jamma, okay? Unless you got different instructions, but generally 99% of Jamma boards go like that, unless you're using like a kick harness adapter in between that, but that's a different story. So let's get to the middle now. All right, guys, so we got our Jamma in there now, and we have our Jamma board. We got right here. We got it connected like it's supposed to be, okay? We got our Jamma, and like I said, I got the legs right here, and I got the Jamma board on this table. I wouldn't, if you don't got these little legs put in, I highly recommend this for your Jamma. Some people use wood on the Jamma boards, so that way they don't short anything, but you don't want this thing touching metal. Now, maybe nothing will happen, I don't know, but you don't want to fry your Jamma board. These things are expensive. You know, people hoard these things and sell them for ungodly amounts of money. Make sure you try to clear the wires. I mean, these will be fine, but because they're already there, insulated, but just be careful. Make sure you don't cut any wires because some of the Jamma pins are pretty sharp. But we're ready to go. So I'm going to set this thing. So I'm just going to fire it up, and we're going to take a look at the screen and make sure everything's working. All right. So you can adjust the colors and stuff later. Let's go ahead and fire up our machine. So all we did essentially, guys, is basically plug in our Jamma board. That's all we did. We didn't put no speakers, no sound or anything in there. We just plugged it in. All right. Okay. So one thing, guys, that I forgot to mention, you are going to need is some tokens or some quarters or maybe some big nickels, but something to go into that machine to register that you have, that you're putting credits in. So let's turn on our machine. And another thing to note, guys, if you turn your machine on and you're not getting the picture, make sure that you use that remote and that's connected to the back. Make sure you use that to change your channel. Okay, so sRGB, that's what it's on. It's working just fine. We probably do gotta adjust the colors, but that's not what this video is about. So we just wanna make sure it's working. The colors are a little off. All right, so we have our Pit Fighter board fired up. Everything's working. Let's check the sound. Well, first let's put some quarters in here. So we got our little thing, and right now we have 0 coins on there. And we're gonna put this in. It registered a coin. Do another one. We got 2 credits in there. So what's cool about this, guys, and this is kind of a side note, you can actually, if you're playing arcade machines and you're running the quarters, you can actually give yourself kind of an allowance and say, well, I'm gonna try to beat this game, you know, with 50 cents or $1. That's just a side note. But okay, so here's our Pit Fighter. Now I remember I told you in the beginning, this Pit Fighter, for some reason, this board's wired crazy. When I hit this, it's registering my coins, registering the start button. Okay, so for some reason, I don't know why it's messed up, but all right, so we just pick our guy or a tie, and you can do two player, make sure 2 players working as well. And it's kind of the same deal on this side. It's messed up, so I think it's my board, but it's working. You can hear it's got sound. Okay, so we'll check both controls, make sure they're working. All right. So player 1 at the bottom. All buttons are working. Player 2. All buttons are working. Okay, and you can hear it. Sound's working. So just to note, guys, so just by plugging in the Jamma and making no more adjustments, we were able to get a picture on screen, which looks pretty nice. They do some color adjustments, but other than that, that's not a big deal. The buttons are working like they're supposed to. Both sides of the controllers are working, player 1 and player 2. Our coin mechanism is working. So after a few more color adjustments, we're able to run this thing now. But that's pretty much it. So real fast, I'm gonna show you guys, I'm not gonna go through all the steps, but I'm gonna show you the Pandora's box. And you hook it up the same way, with just one difference though, and I'll show you that real quick. Oh, and real quick before I forget, there is one more thing I wanna show you guys. And I'll show you real quick. Whenever you wanna go, if you're playing on your Jamma, whenever you wanna go into settings, because it's not like a controller, you can hit a combination of buttons up here. Some of them you can, I think, but for the most part, every Jamma setup has a test button and a service button, okay? So I'm gonna show it to you real quick. On the back of your machine, we'll wheel this out real fast for you guys. So we see the screen here, it's doing its thing, playing like a normal arcade would. Back in the back right here, you have two buttons, okay? You really can't see them, I'll try to get close, but you have a test button and a service button, okay? And those are where you're gonna make your adjustments to your machine, whether you wanna make it 5 tokens, or not 5 tokens, 3 credits to continue, 1 credit to continue, or whatever. Or if you just wanna test your machine. Now we're gonna hit it real quick. We're gonna hit the test button, and we're gonna see what that looks like. Okay, so all you do, hit your test button. You come up front, did anything change? Okay, so you gotta hold it in. So that's what I did wrong. So I hit my test button. Don't just mash it, hold it in for a little bit, okay? So we'll hold it in, we'll do it again. You hold it in, and now you can make adjustments if you wanna make adjustments, okay? And I'm not gonna go through that. That's just basically telling you what you gotta do. So that's your test button, all right? Okay guys, so what I've done basically is I've switched out the Jamma board for Pandora's box. And I set up the same way. Make sure you get the power side, or not power side, the part side in there, and make sure the voltage is in that little nub over there. So I got it set up the right way. We're gonna fire it up. Now, when you fire this thing up, you're gonna notice something weird about it. So let's take a look. All right, let's fire it up. Okay, so it's working. Let's see how it looks. It's all pixelated. Okay, now I went through all the settings on this, and even when I did set it up to where it's in like Jamma mode, it still looks weird. It has like these wavy lines on it, and you don't get a good picture. So with this particular board, Pandora boards, now this is an older one, maybe the newer ones are a little better, but I know for this one for sure, this is how you fix that. Now back here, guys, it's hard to see, but I have an HDMI cable, all right? Now I'm gonna plug one end of the HDMI right here, okay, where it goes into the back of my monitor, all right? And I'm gonna take the other end of the HDMI and drop it down there, and I'm gonna plug that into my Pandora's box. Now watch when I plug it in. So now this time we turn it on. It's gonna be in HDMI mode already. So we got our HDMI plugged in. And now you're gonna get a good picture, okay? So that actually is a very nice picture. Obviously you're gonna need some color adjustments for it, but it looks very sharp. Now mine just set to arcade mode. Remember what I told you, so we're just gonna run, and if you've messed with a Pandora's box before, you know that start, and just to let you know the start button's where it's supposed to be. Start brings this screen up, A brings up, you can pick a game. We'll do third strike, but I got mine set to coin mode, so we got to put a coin in there. Register the coin for us. Now we can do third strike. Okay, so we got our third strike going. We'll hit our start button. And we'll go with Ken, of course, because he's broken. And we'll go with level 3. And, oh, it does have sound, by the way. Our sound is coming through our HDMI and our Jamma board. Now, one thing. Oh. Well, I take that back. That's a nice surprise. The kicks are working for some reason. Yeah, I don't understand that. But okay, I guess with Pandora's box, maybe they do have the encoder right off the bat where it's working. Because now it's working for whatever reason. We can get our combos off. Yeah, it's working for some reason. Huh. Okay, so I guess we can see here it is possible without the kick harness for this to work. Yeah, I thought that'd be a nice feature they put in. So okay, I guess we're good to go. So we'll do our other coin. We'll check it. I'm gonna check the other side buttons. Why does his face look like that? All right, so let's check the other side. We'll get Hugo, because Hugo's just cool. And we'll see if the kicks work on that side. Let's just stay with that. I don't know if you guys can see or not. Yeah, kicks are working on this side too. Yeah, everything seems to be working, guys. So that's a pleasant surprise that we got everything. We actually got our kicks. So scratch what I said earlier, I guess. But keep that in mind. But I guess I didn't really change anything. All I did is hook it up, and it seems to be working just fine. So yeah. So I guess if you got a Pandora's box, it is possible to do this without using the kick harness. Okay, well, so that's pretty much it. And somebody asked me, do I feel any delay? Pandora's boxes are going to give you a little bit of delay anyway, but from what I've seen, because it's going to be a delay in there. But when I played Pit Fighter, I really wasn't getting. I didn't feel like I was getting a lot of delay. I mean, a little bit maybe, but it is playable. I mean, it's so slight, you're not going to really notice. I mean, it is moving pretty good, you know. And obviously, we have to make some color adjustments. But to answer that question, as far as input delay, I'm able to get. Well, I'm standing up, but I'm not sitting down, so it's hard for me to get my combos in. But seems to be working. You can double uppercut him in the corner. On some versions you can. Yeah, you can get the double uppercut in the corner with Ken. So I'm able to pull that off. Okay, so try Hugo's. Yeah, it responds pretty well. So I don't think it's a lot of lag in there, guys. It's good enough for me, I feel like, you know, for the arcade experience. So that's how you hook that bad boy up. So we'll have our closing remarks now. So pretty much, guys, that's how you install a Jamma board to your Nova Blast arcade candy cab. I feel like it's very nice, and you got your coin mechanism working and everything. And I feel like it's very nice if you are a true arcade enthusiast. I'm not diehard. I like the fact that I got a couple of Jamma boards, but I like the fact of the compatibility with the machine, that I can do whatever I want with it. So Jamma's not going to be my main thing. Jamma's going to be like a side note for me personally. But if you're like a hardcore Jamma guy, you like the boards and you got a big collection of boards, I feel like this machine's gonna do, you're gonna have a lot of fun on this machine. Me, I'm more into like mini computers and Pi 5s, and you know, I want to hook my Sega Saturn up to it, my Sega Genesis up to it, my PS2. That's the kind of things I want to do with it. Because a ton of games outside of arcades that just fit well on this machine, especially having this 4x3 screen at 26 inches. I mean, the camera back here is not doing it justice. This is a beautiful picture on this machine. And I feel like the Jamma setup and the Jamma hookups, I like the fact that it's not like the old ones where you have to sometimes hook audio into it. And it has an audio jack on there. So if you have an older arcade board that has to run your audio, it actually has an audio switch on the board that you can plug straight. I didn't need it for mine, but some of the older boards might require audio. You can do that. Also with that Pandora's box, you can use VGA if you'd like. I just went for HDMI. VGA might cut some of the lag, maybe. I'm not sure. I didn't test it, but it ran pretty good on HDMI. So, but you could test that VGA theory if you want. But outside of that, guys, that's pretty much it for this video as far as how to hook a Jamma, an official. We did a Jamma and we did a Pandora's box. Some people frown on those. I'm cool with them. Hey, it plays games, so. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you have any questions and I can answer them, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer it best I can. And as always, guys, take care of yourself, protect your inner peace. God bless you, and thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.